Okay.
Yeah, it's a great delight to be speaking to you this morning. Chiltern Foodbank's been a member of the Chamber for about 4 or 5 years, but this is the first time I've been to a meeting, so it's a great pleasure to be here to talk to you. Along with every other food bank manager in the country, we wish we weren't here. We wish we didn't have to do the job we're doing. We're the only business on the high street that wants a lower footfall than a higher footfall. Since the introduction of universal credit in this region in September 2018, we saw a 30% increase in the number of people we were feeding in 2018, 2019. And we saw a similar increase last year from our financial year runs from April to March. So for the last 2 years, we've seen over a 30% increase cumulative each year. And one of the reasons I mention universal credit, because people moving from other benefits to universal credit, or moving to benefits for the first, go onto universal credit, and they have to wait 5 weeks before they are paid any benefit. And unfortunately, this 5-week wait is much too long. People are without any income very often in that period. So if there's one message I would like to put across to you today, is the 5-week wait for universal credit is too long, because it has a drastic effect on families and puts a lot of families into poverty. Very often families that are on low incomes, struggling, and without that benefit coming in, they spiral down into continuous poverty very often. Very difficult for them to get out of. So we're a member of the Trussell Trust Food Bank Network. Trussell Trust is a charity based down in Salisbury. They've got a couple of food banks of their own under the Trussell Trust name, but the network of food banks has got there's over 400 and almost 430 network food banks. We're all independent, or either independent in our own right or under the umbrella of another charity. Chiltern Foodbank is a charity in its own right, charitable incorporated organisation. Since the lockdown, we very early we closed all our distribution centres for face-to-face meetings. We've got 6 distribution centres. Our main one here in Chesham. We've got one in Amersham at the King's Church, one in Chalfont St Peter at Gold Hill Baptist Church, one in Little Chalfont, one in Presswood, and one in Wendover. So we cover all the Chiltern district area, plus Wendover, Stoke Mandeville, which is in the Vale of Aylesbury. With the help of, in this central area, Chesham Help for Coronavirus, which the Rotary Club are involved in, and Buckinghamshire Council, with the help of them, with the help of Gold Hill Baptist Church and Wendover Christian Centre, we've been able to make home deliveries to all the people in need in our area. Very early on, the Trussell Trust, Richard was talking earlier on about bringing things forward, the crisis has brought a lot of things forward. The Trussell Trust were working on an electronic voucher system that they plan to introduce in about 18 months' time. Eventually, when they had to do it, they introduced it within 3 weeks, and that has really helped us support people in need, because a lot of the referral partners who assess need closed down and started working from home. So people like the social service teams, the Citizens Advice Bureau, most of the referral partners that we deal with started working from home, but we're still able to issue vouchers electronically and send them to us so we could dispatch the parcels. Since the start of the crisis, in the 3 months from 1st of April to 30th of June, we've provided 21,500 meals. In the same period last year, we provided 5,500 meals. So there's been an almost fourfold increase in the number of people we're feeding. In the last week or so, we've seen a slight tapering off, and we hope that's going to continue. But we do fear that as we end the furlough period, there'll be a lot more redundancies, and there will be then a spike in need again, as people have to go onto universal credit because they're out of jobs, and they've got this 5-week wait. At the Chiltern Foodbank, we're blessed with a tremendous team of volunteers. Many of them had to stand down because of age. We recognise that a good number of our volunteers were over 70. Some had health issues themselves. So we've had a core team come in. We've been blessed in that we've been able to bring some young people in, people who are away from university, and they've come in. They're young men normally. It's great. They're eye candy for the volunteers, and they're also very strong. So that's really helped us, and we've got 3 or 4 of these young people that are helping. Our main interest will always be in food poverty, but there are other issues around poverty that we work with. One is fuel poverty. We work with the Paradigm Foundation, Paradigm Housing. We've match funded a grant that they've given us, and we now give small grants to people for fuel poverty. So that just helps relieve some of the low income pressures that some people have. It's just a small grant, 1 grant a year, but it does help. We've also got a Hardship Fund, so we will give grants of up to £300 to people to buy. Well, they don't buy it themselves. We would always have it installed, a domestic appliance. Last week we put in a fridge freezer to a lady in Chalfont St Peter. So that grant's available, and recently the issue of digital poverty has come up. Digital poverty can affect people of all ages, but it's what we're looking at is digital poverty with young people. And this is where young people don't have access, or have limited access, perhaps shared access, to an IT device. So this is particularly appropriate at the moment, and it's been highlighted with the school's closure that there are a number of children that have either limited or no access at all to, because their parents can't afford an IT device. So we've contacted all the local senior schools. We don't have the funds to help junior schools, but we've contacted all the local senior schools, and we've started to fundraise and use some of our reserves to help schools in digital poverty. So this week we will be making 4 grants of £8,000 to local schools to help them purchase 20 IT devices each, so that they can give them to pupils before the holiday. We've ensured that they've put the protocols in place. They put filters on they will put filters on the devices. They will make sure that the devices are maintained well. But this is, we are passionate about helping these young people to have access, to not be disadvantaged against their peers, and come down into a spiral of poverty, a continuation of poverty. So that's one of the things that we're doing at the moment. Thank you. What about the future? Well, we haven't yet got a date for reopening all our centres. We're working on risk assessments at the moment for opening, but we don't think that there's an urgent need at the moment. There may well be a spike in the number of COVID cases. We want to protect our volunteers. We want to protect clients coming into the food bank. So it may well be the early to mid-autumn before we reopen our centres. We want to reopen because we give a far more holistic service and support to clients in need when we're open. We can talk about their needs. We provide a listening ear. We used to offer them a cup and coffee. We used to offer them prayer if they wanted that. So we want to get back to that holistic method, but at the same time, we want to ensure that our volunteers and clients are safe. Our stocks have been well maintained. We've been supported by Tesco, Waitrose and Morrison's during the crisis. Tesco have brought in a weekly delivery to us from one of their hubs up in Banbury, and they've done that to all the Trussell Trust food banks throughout the country. That comes to an end this week. Morrison's are going to continue to support us through till September, and Waitrose, I think, will continue to support us. We've also got permanent collection bins in the Waitrose and Sainsbury's store in Chesham, and the Tesco store in Amersham. So our stocks have actually slightly increased over the last 3 months, which was great, but we do anticipate that there may be an issue in the autumn. We're normally supported very well by churches and schools during the harvest period. We're not sure what the harvest period will be this year. We feel that our national collection that we hold annually in late November, early December, which brings about 3 tons of food to us at the Tesco store in Amersham, that probably won't go ahead. So we're not sure what the future will bring in terms of stocks, but we've coped well so far.